Michael and Lauren celebrate 20 years together. Promo. Here is the latest The Young and the Restless spoiler promo. Sienna, Tamara Braun, tells Noah, Lucas Adams, and Sharon Case, no one is safe, especially her, until Mitch, Roger Howarth, is dead. Noah tells her to come to Genoa City with him so he can keep her safe. Lily, Crystal Khalil, tells Kane, Billy Flynn, she is taking one for the team, which team, and going to the Abbott Communications launch party. He thinks it won't be so tedious and boring if they go together. Previous The Young and the Restless promo. What fresh hell does Victor have in store for Matt? Michael, Christian LeBlanc, is at a blackjack table and turns 3 cards over for Lauren, Tracy Bregman, reading Happy 20th Anniversary. What are you looking forward to next week? Sound off in the comments and watch the video clip below. Keep checking back for the latest The Young and the Restless spoilers promos. This story was originally published by Daytime Confidential on December 7, 2025, where it first appeared in the Young and the Restless section. Add Daytime Confidential as a preferred source by clicking here. Over 7,000 days, each one stitched with laughter, lessons, late-night compromises, and the kind of love that doesn't just accidentally happen. The kind that's tended to, watered, argued about, grown, forgiven, and celebrated. This is the story of Michael and Lauren, who didn't just spend 20 years together. They built 20 years together. 1. The morning of the celebration. The sun rose politely, soft gold peeking through the curtains, almost as if it knew this wasn't just any morning. Michael was already awake. Not because of nerves, and not because he'd forgotten something important, although he still wasn't convinced the caterer would show on time, but because he had been unable to sleep. Today marked a full 20 years of loving Lauren, 20 years since he'd stood across from her, eyes locked, heart thundering, making promises he didn't fully understand but fully meant. Lauren, in contrast, was still asleep, her face relaxed in a way that came only when she trusted the world, and him, enough to rest deeply. He looked at her and smiled. 20 years, he thought. And she still takes my breath away. He contemplated waking her with breakfast. He'd even prepped everything, strawberries, toasted brioche, and the fancy coffee she loved but always said was too much effort for a weekday morning. But he stopped himself. She looked peaceful. And besides, waking Lauren abruptly was a lesson he'd learned by year 2. Instead, he quietly placed a single white rose on her nightstand, the same kind he had given her on their wedding day. Lauren stirred, eyes fluttering open. When she saw the rose, she smiled, then looked up at him. 20 years, she whispered. 20 years, he echoed. They leaned in. A soft kiss. The kind full of history. 2. The home they built. Their house wasn't perfect. There were paint chips from when they tried to move the couch upstairs, and discovered that physics said no. There were mismatched mugs, inside jokes scribbled on sticky notes, and a guest room that still contained boxes labeled "Deal with later." 20 years later had yet to arrive. But the place was theirs, rough edges, warm corners, and all. Lauren padded into the kitchen, wearing one of Michael's shirts, still too big, still her favorite, while Michael started the coffee. She noticed he was humming, which meant he was both excited and trying to calm his nerves. She wrapped her arms around him from behind. "Everything's going to go perfectly," she murmured. He chuckled. "Oh, I know. I just want today to feel special." "It already does," she said, "because it's ours." 3. The flashbacks. As they moved through the morning routine, memories came back in soft waves. The first year. They were all fire and passion, learning each other's rhythms, navigating bills, jobs, and the shocking realization that loving someone didn't magically make living together easy. Their arguments were loud, their reconciliations louder. They mastered compromise. Or at least they tried. They still laugh about the thermostat Cold War, which lasted 6 months and ended with 2 blankets and a programmable thermostat. Year 10. They began building deeper roots. Career shifts. A move. A dog named Baxter who chewed everything Michael owned and somehow none of Lauren's shoes. Year 15. They rediscovered adventure. Weekend trips, cooking classes, spontaneous dance nights in the kitchen. Year 20. They arrived here, Not perfect, not finished, but stronger than ever. 4. The celebration plan. Michael had secretly spent months planning a celebration for Lauren. He wanted it to feel like their story, sentimental, slightly chaotic, and overflowing with love. The backyard was already transformed. Twinkle lights draped from tree to tree. A memory wall displayed photos from every decade, some polished, some slightly embarrassing. A tiny stage sat at the center, where he planned to give the speech he had rewritten 27 times. He had invited only the closest friends and family, people who had witnessed the journey, supported them through storms, celebrated their victories. But the centerpiece of his plan was simple. A recommitment ceremony. Private. Personal. Just the two of them. 5. Lauren's surprise. Lauren wasn't unaware. She knew Michael. She knew his tells. The nervous humming. The triple checking. The way he tried to act casual while very clearly hiding something. What he didn't know was that she had planned a surprise of her own. In the garage sat a box wrapped in silver paper. Inside it was a scrapbook, not digital, not fancy, but handmade. Page after page of 20 years. Photos, ticket stubs, love notes, pieces of their lives glued together. But the final page was empty, intentionally. In the center she had written, "Page 21 begins now. Whatever comes next, I choose you, again, again and always." She intended to give it to him tonight, after guests left, when they were alone and the day's noise had settled. 6. The guests arrive. By afternoon, their home buzzed with joyful chatter. The backyard filled quickly. Cousins, college friends, neighbors who had watched the couple grow from newlyweds to seasoned partners. Baxter, now older but still convinced he was a puppy, ran between legs, receiving more attention than any human. The tables were covered with white linens and soft greenery. Candles flickered. Music played, songs from their early years mixed with the newer ones they discovered together. Lauren circulated gracefully, thanking people for coming. Michael followed behind, adjusting things that didn't need adjusting, stopping every few minutes to breathe in the moment. At one point, Lauren grabbed his hand and squeezed. "You did all this," she said softly. "We did," he corrected. "We made 20 years. This is just the party." 7. The speech. As twilight set in, the lights overhead began to glow. Michael stepped onto the small stage. Silence fell naturally, everyone knew this was coming. He cleared his throat. 20 years ago, he began, I promised to love Lauren for the rest of my life. Back then, I had no idea what that really meant. I just knew that the way I felt when I looked at her was unlike anything I'd felt before.